Hello, welcome to Simple Life Philosophy. I'm your host, Ed Raby. This is the channel where you're documenting my journey into finding a philosophy of life that's both simple to understand and simple to execute. I'm on my way to a journey to a simpler life, and I want to document it, and you're welcome along to come along for the ride, although it's been very interesting right now. This is, of course, as you can see, my first camcorder video. So if this all works out, this will be on a video later. I still have to learn how to download stuff and edit it, but I've got the downloading part down. I'm going to have to work with the editor to figure that out a little bit, but I think I'll be able to handle it. But today I just kind of want to do another, simple gardening noob episode. And as you can see, this is kind of my gardening area on my table. I'm doing indoor gardening for now. And the only thing I really have is this little thing over here. It's kind of basically a hydroponic planter. And I thought a couple of days ago that what I planted in it were dead, but it's turned out that it's pretty good. And they all came up yesterday. I noticed they were all sprouting. And so my tomato plants, these guys were right here, are coming up. So that's good news from the gardening front. Now, basically, I'm going to be adding to this little table. I won't be able to sit here and lean my arms on this for very much longer because I have a herb garden coming and a few other plants, and I'm going to plant planters. The other thing I noticed, you can see the window up there behind you. What I didn't really take into account is what's on the other side of those curtains. There's like 4 shelves of that are about this wide, and the sun, the rising sun, hits this side of the house. So, and then light still gets there pretty good. There's no real big shade trees over the house where all of our apartments are. So, we might be able to get some sunlight all the time, all the way around. And so, I'm thinking that maybe over time, you'll see this filled with planters, and I'll continue to garden and do the things here from the table as well, but in order to save some space, I can do it that way too. The eventual thing, I think, is to make something that I can use in the apartment and maybe turn a little bit of a profit to it by selling some of the produce I'm going to produce, but that's a little ways down the road. I'm continuing to educate myself. I've been reading this one lately. Growing indoor, the grow your own food thing, and I'm somewhat into it, but my main focus has always been to make this as simple as possible and to talk about gardening in terms of, for me, from a certain point of view, gardening is going to be one of my more coping mechanisms to deal with the various things in my nervous system. I need something that helps me calm down. And from an autism point of view, adult autism point of view, a high-functioning point of view, I need something that recharges me. And I don't know if this particular activity, gardening, recharges me, but the one thing it didn't do is, like I said, I thought these guys over here in this background were dead. And then the seedlings came up, and I was very, very surprised. And I thought nothing was happening. And then one day I wake up and there's all the seedlings poking up, and there's 2 or 3 of them in each little hole there. So I don't know how many tomatoes I get, or whether or not I'll have to thin that out a little bit and get only 1 plant per thing. But the idea is to continue to grow stuff and produce stuff for myself and become more self-sufficient. Now, I don't know if this is going to recharge my batteries, but the stress of, oh wow, that didn't really work, and I thought I had my first gardening failure, didn't bother me very much. It wasn't like I was going to, destroy anything that was just started. So I decided to move along and just kind of go for it with it, and it came up, and my herb garden is on the way. Got about 7 herbs that I'm going to be growing. I've got leeks coming in addition to the carrots, the lettuce, and the onions that I'm going to grow. And I want to get that started and have my little kind of island garden here on this side of the table. This is probably, for some of you, the first view inside of my apartment and other places other than the one corner. I'll probably do a video more about giving you a tour of my place a little bit later, but for right now, I just wanted to do a little gardening noob video and let you know what was going on. Now, from a Stoic point of view, we use the example of gardens a lot in Stoicism. In particular, we look at different elements, like what are we trying to achieve, the fruits. You know, the ultimate goal of these little plants is that they'll produce tomatoes. The ultimate goal of our philosophy should always be to produce virtue. Of course, I follow the 9 noble virtues, so I'm trying to produce those in my life, along with other ones such as justice and wisdom and things like that. So when we look at gardening, this is the goal. The goal is to have a table here full of fruits, full of stuff that is ultimately produced by the plants. Now, we use other things, that's the goal of the virtues, but then we have to enrich the soil, do the exercise of philosophy, do reason, do all the things to protect it. Reason is the fence around the outside. I'm kind of using, in my gardening terms, I'm basically gardening inside, which eliminates a lot of things. It eliminates pests, it eliminates, other things that would eat my crop. It allows me to control the temperature and the moisture a lot better, and I'm able to have a little bit more control about how my plants grow. The other thing about it, of course, is enriching the soil. Now, from a gardening standpoint, I've decided that there are certain additives I just don't want to do. I'm going very organic. I'm not going to use chemical pesticides. I'm not going to use chemical herbicides. I'm going to focus on fertilizers that are organic, a little bit more home brewed. I'm going to have to see if I can get some help with that. My daughter is into gardening, so I may ask her if I can use part of her spot for maybe some composting and things like that, but we'll see. And then maybe next year I'll grow some stuff up there or someplace where I can get some gardening room. I just don't have any room here in the apartment, and start thinking more along growing enough to sell at farmers markets and things like that. We'll see how that works. But basically my main focus here today is to kind of, number one, try out the camcorder and see if it works for a video, and see if I can edit it and do it. So we'll see when this comes out. If today is May 27th, so if it comes out in the next day or so, then you know that the editing process worked. And I'm just kind of moving forward with my life here, trying to get things going and using things that help me out and work for me. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by. I appreciate this. This is the Simple Gardening Noob. And I just wanted to highlight for a journal entry, these little guys are growing, and I didn't expect them to. So maybe I'm better at this than I thought. We all have to start somewhere, and this is the starting video. And so I wanted to highlight a few things. The ultimate objective of this garden is fruit. The ultimate objective of our life should be character. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like and share it. Make sure you comment below if you have any advice for me or anything else. Always subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure that you hit that notification bell so you can have more content as released. Once again, this has been Simple Life Philosophy, and in particular the Simple Gardening Noob. And I'm your host, Edward Avey, and I just thank you once again for stopping by. Live your life in simplicity. Go forward with it, and you have a great day.